It's really difficult to find someone who doesn't love roses. I, for example, love roses immensely, and not a day goes by without scratching my hands on thorns. But when a rose blooms, the scratches don't matter because they heal quickly. The armfuls of roses at home fill every room. Why does her gentle aroma permeate the entire apartment? Indeed, the rose is the queen of any garden and the pride of its owner. Here in the video, my roses after winter are exactly what they look like in spring. And of course, we need to help them wake up and carry out the care that is required at this time when spring has taken over. But if you think that caring for roses is very difficult, then I dare to assure you that your fears are greatly exaggerated. Taking care of a rose is not difficult. You just need to know what to do when and how to do it. In this video, I will share it with you. How to prune in the spring and what care it requires at this time of year. And 1. What needs to be done is remove the shelter. Such a shelter is especially relevant for the middle lane. And if your region is warm and snowed and the daytime temperature reaches +5 and above, then the shelter can be removed and tightened. No need with this. At minus temperatures, a greenhouse effect is created and roses can simply grow under it. As a result, rose may even get sick. In my region, winters are not too cold and temperatures rarely drop below -5, so winter shelter is mostly vacuuming. But spring has already entered its rites and the roses are beginning to wake up. Accordingly, it is necessary to carry out certain actions that will help roses recover after a long winter. And the second step that needs to be done after removing the opening is to clean up all last year's foliage and any plant debris. Then what you need to do is to prune. Why do you need to do spring pruning? The fact is that during the winter, the concert of roses freezes also old, or forest eyelids do not tolerate the winter and die. So all old frostbite, dry or sick shoots of roses must be pruned, and this is done so that the plants do not waste their strength on them and sought to grow new shoots, on which then new buds are formed. Such frostbitten ends can be immediately seen on the branch. Pay attention. They are usually a different color. They are darker up to black. These ends are no longer alive. They are completely dry, so such ends of the branch must be cut off. So, on to trimming. Please note, this is a dry edge with a cut on it. By the way, I also want to say that pruning needs to be done with a sharp secateur, so that the cut made by the secateur is even and with one time. That is, the cut should not be torn, otherwise it can lead to rose disease. Here is also a dry edge. We cut it off to healthy tissue. And healthy tissue can be recognized by color. The color can be green or white. Here we also do the same thing, trim off the dry edge. In addition to trimming the dry edges, you also need to make a forming pruning and do it in order to give the bush a neat, beautiful shape. Such a cut should be made slightly above the healthy bud, which is directed from the bush, that is, facing outward. Means should be made at an inclination of 40-45 degrees at a distance of 1 centimeter, and the tip of the cut should be made above the kidney itself and delto, so that if it suddenly rains, the water flows down the cut and does not fall on the kidney. In this case, it will protect the kidney from decay. Please note, I pruned this bush and immediately cut off the old dry ends, focusing on the new buds, which are directed outward. That is, I pruned the branches according to the rules that I talked about earlier. In general, the rules for pruning any shrub are as follows. The stronger the shoot, the less it is pruned. If the shoot is weak, then on the contrary, stronger pruning is required. That is, it needs to be cut lower. It is precisely this pruning that stimulates the development of lower, stronger kidneys. Because these buds are located closer to the root system and therefore receive more nutrition. But remember that with any pruning, peace is good and you don't need to be too diligent with it. And as a result, this is what I got, a good and healthy bush. And here's another bush that I trimmed. The next final step is to loosen the soil. What are they doing this for? To allow air access to the roots. Breakthrough ground at the same time warms up faster, and thus the rose will wake up faster and go into growth. This is the procedure you need to do. Do it with all the bushes. This is all the care that is required to give birth in the spring after winter. This is what I got thanks to